As the world grapples with environmental issues, Christians have a greater responsibility too in managing the environment for the glory of God. Air pollution is the worst environmental health risk of this generation. It also exacerbates climate change, causes economic losses, and reduces agricultural productivity. It has no boundaries. Everyone has a responsibility to protect our atmosphere and ensure healthy air for all. By collaborating across borders, sectors, and silos, we can manage air pollution through collective investments of time, resources, and efforts. The International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies is a call to everyone, from governments and corporations to civil society and individuals, to invest in clean air now. By tackling air pollution proactively, we can achieve transformative change and secure healthy air for all as a fulfillment of God's plan for dominating the earth and taking control of it as a good steward. The Christian environmental management is the practice of responsibly caring for and stewarding God's creation in accordance with biblical principles and holiness. From the beginning, the Bible emphasizes humanity's responsibility to care for the earth, reflecting God's love for creation and the balance He established within it. A Christian approach to environmental management is rooted in several key biblical concepts: stewardship, creation care, dominion, justice, and sustainability. Here is a detailed exploration of Christian environmental management from a biblical perspective. 1. Stewardship, humanity's role as caretakers of creation. At the heart of Christian environmental management is the concept of stewardship. The Bible teaches that the earth belongs to God, and humans are entrusted with the responsibility to manage it wisely. This principle is introduced in the creation narrative, where God places Adam in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it, as stated in Genesis chapter 2 verses 15. This establishes humanity's role as caretakers, responsible for nurturing and maintaining the earth's resources. Biblical foundations for stewardship. In Psalm chapter 24 verses 1, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world, and all who live in it." This verse reminds Christians that the earth and all its creatures ultimately belong to God. Humans are stewards, not owners, of creation. Therefore, managing the environment responsibly is an act of obedience to God's will. Genesis chapter 1 verses 26 to 28, God gives humanity dominion over the earth, but this dominion is not a license for exploitation. It is a call to govern creation wisely and with care. The word dominion reflects a leadership role that mirrors God's own care for creation. This is a model of stewardship that should be exercised with love, responsibility, and a deep sense of accountability to God. The practical applications in environmental management. Your conservation efforts. Christians are invited to protect and preserve the natural world, ensuring that the environment can sustain future generations. This includes supporting efforts to prevent deforestation, soil erosion, water pollution, and species extinction. Ethical use of resources. As stewards, Christians are to use natural resources, such as water, land, minerals, and animals, responsibly. Overconsumption and wasteful practices are inconsistent with biblical stewardship, which calls for mindful and sustainable use of the earth's resources. 2. Creation care, reverence for God's handiwork. Creation is a reflection of God's power, creativity, and goodness. Christians believe that caring for the environment is an act of worship, as it reflects reverence for God's handiwork. The Bible speaks often of the beauty and intricacy of creation, encouraging believers to appreciate and protect it. Biblical foundations for creation care. In Psalm chapter 19 verses 1, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of His hands." Creation itself is a testimony to God's glory. By caring for the environment, Christians honor the Creator and His work. Damaging the environment is not only harmful to the earth but also dishonors the beauty of what God has made. Romans chapter 1 verses 20, "For since the creation of the world God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made." Creation reveals God's nature, power, and wisdom. When Christians engage in creation care, they protect a vital revelation of God's character. The intricate ecosystems, majestic landscapes, and diverse species speak of God's creativity and attention to detail. Practical applications in environmental management, recycling and reducing waste. Caring for creation means minimizing the impact humans have on the environment. Recycling materials, reducing waste, and opting for environmentally friendly products reflect a commitment to preserving God's creation. Biodiversity protection. Just as the Bible speaks of God's delight in the variety of creatures, Genesis 1, Christians are called to protect biodiversity. This includes supporting policies and actions that safeguard ecosystems and the diverse life forms within them. 3. Dominion and responsibility, a call for wise governance. In Genesis chapter 1 verses 26, God gives humanity dominion over the earth. This dominion is not a license for exploitation or destruction but a call to responsible management. Biblical dominion involves leadership that reflects God's care for creation, one that protects, nurtures, and ensures sustainability. Christian environmental management views dominion as an act of service to both God and creation. Biblical foundations for dominion and responsibility. Genesis 1 verse 28. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it." The command to subdue the earth does not imply reckless control but rather a call to bring order, cultivate the land, and maintain the balance that God established. It is a task that requires wisdom, humility, and care for all of creation. Leviticus chapter 25 verses 23 to 24 says, "The land must not be sold permanently, because the land is mine and you reside in my land as foreigners and strangers. Throughout the land that you hold as a possession, you must provide for the redemption of the land." This passage reinforces that humans are caretakers of God's land. The earth belongs to God, and people are to live as temporary residents, using the land without exploiting or degrading it. Practical applications in environmental management, sustainable agriculture and land use. Christians practicing dominion should promote sustainable farming methods that prevent the degradation of the land and ensure that it remains fertile for future generations. Practices such as crop rotation, organic farming, and responsible water usage align with the biblical call to care for the land. Renewable energy. As stewards of God's creation, Christians can support and adopt renewable energy sources, like solar, wind, and hydroelectric power, to reduce reliance on fossil fuels and decrease the harmful effects of pollution and climate change. 4. Justice, ensuring fairness in environmental stewardship. Environmental justice is a key component of Christian environmental management. The Bible emphasizes justice, particularly for the poor and marginalized, who are often the most affected by environmental degradation. Christians are called to advocate for policies that protect the vulnerable and ensure that the earth's resources are shared equitably. Biblical foundations for justice. Proverbs 31 verses 8 to 9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly, defend the rights of the poor and needy. Environmental degradation often affects the poor and marginalized the most, as they depend directly on natural resources for their livelihood. Christians are called to defend these communities and work for policies that protect both people and the planet. Isaiah 24 verses 4 to 6. This passage warns of the consequences of environmental destruction and how human sin and greed can harm the earth. It reminds Christians that environmental mismanagement has spiritual consequences, especially when it harms the most vulnerable. Practical applications in environmental management. Environmental justice movements. Christians can participate in environmental justice movements that seek to protect poor and marginalized communities from the harmful effects of pollution, deforestation, and other environmental crises. Equitable resource distribution. A Christian approach to environmental management ensures that resources such as clean water, air, and land are distributed fairly. This includes supporting policies that provide access to clean resources for all people, particularly the disadvantaged. 5. Sustainability. ensuring the future of God's creation. Sustainability is a biblical principle that calls for the wise use of resources to ensure that creation can flourish for future generations. The Bible encourages a long-term view of creation, one that seeks to preserve and maintain the earth for the sake of future generations. Biblical foundations for sustainability. Genesis chapter 2 verses 15, "The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it." This verse emphasizes the need for both working the earth, using its resources, and taking care of it, preserving it. Sustainability is the balance between using resources wisely and ensuring that they are available for future generations. Deuteronomy chapter 20 verses 19 to 20. In this passage, God commands the Israelites not to destroy fruit trees during a siege, illustrating the importance of preserving resources even in times of conflict. This principle of restraint and care for natural resources extends to all areas of life. Practical applications in environmental management. Sustainable development. Christians can support sustainable development initiatives that focus on building economies and societies that do not deplete natural resources or harm the environment. This includes promoting energy efficiency, reducing carbon footprints, and ensuring that development meets the needs of both the present and future generations. Ecological restoration. Christians should engage in efforts to restore damaged ecosystems, such as reforestation, wetland preservation, and the rehabilitation of polluted areas. This reflects the biblical mandate to tend and keep the earth, ensuring that it remains healthy and productive. In conclusion, a Christian approach to environmental management. Christian environmental management is a holistic approach rooted in biblical principles. It involves stewardship of the earth, recognizing that creation is a gift from God, and humans are called to care for it with reverence and responsibility. It emphasizes creation care, acknowledging that preserving the environment is an act of worship and respect for God's handiwork. Christians are called to exercise dominion wisely, managing the earth's resources without exploiting or degrading them. Moreover, Christian environmental management calls for justice, ensuring that the poor and vulnerable are protected from environmental. Luke chapter 19 verses 13 states that Jesus called his 10 servants, and delivered them 10 pounds, and said unto them, "Occupy till I come." Let us all manage our environment, for cleanliness is surely godliness.